right, beautiful people, welcome in, welcome in. We have got some stuff to start early this morning. This is like drinking through a fire hose today. As you guys get filtered in, I know this is earlier than usual. Make sure you're leaving some chats, some comments, some 5x5s, audio, video. I'm obviously going to let you guys get in here, but we have got some breaking stuff that we've got to address. So if you're watching this in the actual recording, this is something that is dropping momentarily. This is really breaking news. This is some crazy stuff. So once you guys get in here, make sure you tell me if the audio works, video works, everything's good, and we will start kicking on this, because this is a man, these people are genuinely trying to shore up support across the board, and our gun rights are the punching bag on this one. So as you guys get in here, I'll wait, because I know it's a lot earlier than I normally post. But effectively, guys, what you're talking about, again, if you're watching this recording, you're talking about a brand new rule that's going to affect the gun show loophole, which doesn't exist and has never existed, but it's affecting actual individuals who sell their private property. So as we go, audible, very quiet. All right, so I got one person, volume so low. Okay. Let me adjust that for you here, guys. All right, says my audio is deep. Yeah, it says it's pretty good. Audio way low, mic is off, sound bad. Okay. All good now. Audio is okay. Hear you fine. Yeah, so guys, I've got a few people saying the audio wasn't coming through. Let me give me some updates on audio before I go, because I'm getting mixed reports of audio is good or audio is bad. So just let me hit, it's not your audio better, no volume. See, I've got some mixed in there. Still nothing, no audio. I think that's YouTube, because my system is showing that it's coming through. Audio is very low. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to talk at this level just in case it's something wrong with here. Here we go. Boom. See that? That's on the fly move right there. Audio's low, sounds good. Okay. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure that out, but this is some breaking news. Let me jump over to what's happening here, because this stuff is just tiresome, is not quite the explanation for what this is. Let me get me out of the way here. Bear with me, guys, as I am getting everything good to go. There we go. All right, so what's wrong with the sound? Still barely audio. Gonna crank my volume. Okay, cool. So sorry, guys, I'm trying to get this. I think there's something wrong with the audio in general. I don't really know what's going on with that, but it says on my inputs that everything is working normally. So good here. Okay. All right, so I've got that as much as I can. I'm gonna do not come. Sounds like laptop mic and not the Shure. Okay, that's helpful. All right, what about now? Did that do anything at all? All right, that should have done. Yep, I think that did it. There it is. All right, that should have done it. Did that work, guys? Fixed. Boom. Look at you guys. Look at you guys solving the world's problems. Good. I appreciate that, guys. There was obviously a setting that was off, but we are going to hit this and hit this hard, because we got a situation coming out of Washington, D.C., because in the never-ending quest to make themselves good with their constituencies, because they're losing everybody, why not hit on the old punching bag of the gun rights some more, right? And wouldn't it be great, guys, if we could use the Senate Safer Communities Act that was given by John Cornyn and 15 Republicans to do it? As you can see, now that the audio's back, I'm a little spicy. All right, let me get into this, because this right here, this is just... Frustration is a good beginning word for it. Let's just get into this, okay? Let me show you what's going on, because this is something that is not kosher, and it's everywhere. You can find this almost everywhere. Biden to close gun show loophole and expand background checks for firearms. So he's expanding background checks through executive orders The new rule comes under legislation passed after Uvalde, Texas shooting. Okay. So the thing is, when Republicans joined with them through John Cornyn and Chris Murphy and passed this gun control law, the entire thing was this huge and massive ambiguous natured freak show that would let the executive bureaucracy make up laws whole cloth whenever they wanted to. You've seen it consistently time and time again. So now they're doing it against the gun show loophole. And I've got a few points here that I want to highlight, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to shore up support because they got nothing anywhere else. So they're going back to their core constituencies. I've actually talked about this on the new podcast, which I'll link down there, that we talked about how they're going after Easter. They're going after pretty much anything to do with the abortion piece, anything to do with gun control, anything that they can do, student debt relief. They're trying to shore up their base because they're floundering. But anyway, let's continue here. Let me show you what they're doing to the guns specifically. The Biden administration is moving to expand background checks for gun purchases, fulfilling a key demand of advocates following the deadly shooting at a school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. This is the point that kind of buttresses what I just said. At the key demand of gun control advocates, they are quite literally changing rules whole cloth about you can't sell private property because we've redefined what a dealer is, or a private dealer, through this to satisfy gun control to get their votes and support. That Every Time for Gun Safety, Moms Demand Action, Giffords, March for Our Lives. We got so much stuff, by the way, with Davey Hogg's little debate last night. Just stay tuned because we're going to be drinking through a fire hose. But let's continue here. The final rule, expected to be submitted Thursday to the Federal Register, so that's tomorrow, by the ATF, would eliminate a loophole that has allowed sales of guns without background checks of guns outside of brick and mortar sales or stores. So outside of brick and mortar stores. Yeah, that's gun shows. So effectively what they're saying is, if you're not a dealer, an FFL dealer, and you're not inside a brick and mortar store, then you can't sell something that is your private property. That's what this is. It's nothing beyond that. It's not, these unregistered illicit gun dealers who skirt the federal system. Well, if there are unregistered gun dealers that are skirting the federal system, what does that say about your federal system? I'm just saying, because if your whole pitch here is the FFL system and the NICS background check system and the gun control we have in place is so effective, we just need to tweak it just a little bit. It's not so effective then. But that's a different thing for a different time. So let's keep going here. And by the way, I hope the audio is still good. I think it is. You guys are talking about it. That's funny. Does that affect the trunk of a car for criminals? That's great. The rule was issued under a provision of the 2022 Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. It requires that anyone who sells guns for profit to have a license and that buyers be subject to a background check, including at firearms shows and flea markets. The administration had been working on the rule since last spring. Once publicized, it will take effect in 30 days. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to achieve a universal background check system. That's exactly what they're trying to deal with here. So as they go through this, do not forget a very key point here. The Republicans, working under John Cornyn and Tom Tillis, working with Kyrsten Sinema and Chris Murphy, made this possible by giving the ATF and the bureaucracies a blank check for which the White House can utilize for their own political support. That was a clip. Because genuinely, that's what we're talking about here. I got even more stuff for you. We haven't even gotten to the red highlights yet. The so-called gun show loophole has for 4 years allowed unlicensed gun dealers to sell firearms without background checks at gun shows, on the internet and out of their homes. The new rule, the most sweeping expansion of firearms background checks in decades, will apply to more than 20,000 individuals engaged in unlicensed gun dealing and affect tens and tens of thousands of gun sales each year, an administration official told reporters during a call previewing the announcement. I'm not going to spoil the red for you. The red's coming up next. But genuinely, what they're trying to do is they're trying to use your rights and infringing upon those rights through the executive bureaucratic system, through a White House that is floundering politically, in order to change the rules to get them votes with their core constituencies, in order to say, look, we're actually good at something. That's what's happening right now. So if you try to sell a gun, that's your property that you've had for 6 months to a year. Are you a dealer now? Because John Cornyn and the Republicans agreed to this. This is why you don't make deals with the devil, because they will tell you, oh, it's perfectly fine. We have the best of intentions. Look at all the due process we put in it. And then, by the way, the executive bureaucratic auspices of the ATF, the DOJ, they're just going to change definitions. And now all of a sudden, look, we have this amazing gun control law. You passed. Thanks, Republicans. You guys did amazing on this one. Anyway, let's continue. Quote, so many communities have been torn apart by acts of violence committed with weapons bought without background checks, she continued. So in the memory of all those we have lost today, as the head of the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, this is Harris, I am proud to announce that all gun dealers now must conduct background checks no matter where or how they sell their merchandise. The reason that this is so important, and this is wordplay and this is gameplay, because they changed the definition of what is actually considered a gun dealer. And if you sell an individual gun, you're now a gun dealer. Now they can say sentences like that. Well, I am proud to announce that all gun dealers now must conduct background checks no matter where or how they sell their merchandise. This entire thing is based around changing definitions of words and legal definitions in order to achieve a better punch, which you can't refute. That's the entire point. Everyone in the middle makes so much sense. Who would not want a gun dealer to not do a background check? It's all political play because they changed the definitions. They've done it over and over and over and over again. But now, let's get to the... nice, John. Would that make gun buybacks illegal? No, because it's the government. They can do whatever they want. Well, here's the red. It's red, so it must be bad. Check this out, because this gives away the entire thing, what they're chasing. After Congress passed the gun safety legislation in June 2022 following a shooting in Texas, gun safety groups have pushed the White House to use it as to expand background checks by clarifying which entities are considered engaged in the business of selling firearms. That is specifically John Cornyn's intro into the Safer Communities Act. That is exactly what he put in there. The gun controllers are using it. Doing so would not fulfill the president's plea for universal background checks, as it would not apply to all sales, including private transfers. But the rule's publication still marks a step forward in the administration's more incremental efforts to regulate gun sales through implementation of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Fingerprints all over it. You cannot refute the idea that what the Republicans gave the Democrats, they are now using to destroy the Democrats through the executive bureaucratic state in which they are infringing on all of our rights. Republicans in the Senate, John Cornyn, you want to be the leader of the Senate and majority or the minority? Yeah, go pound sand. And that's not what my first response was, because this is directly on them. This is what they have brought us. God, this is irritating. Anyway, one more thing. Quote, this quote is big. We know this doesn't get all the way there, and this law can only do so much. And it's why the president is firm that the Congress needs to finish the job and make sure that we have background checks on all gun sales, an administration official said. They are incrementally moving you towards a universal background check system, which requires a national registration system, which requires the government to know where every single gun is from A to B to C. If you do not see this, I have serious concerns. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get a system in place and build it, and they're building all of them by piecemeal. They're doing red flags over here, they're doing national registration over here, they're doing engaged in business right here, and they're doing ATF enhanced background checks right here. The second that you have all those pieces built, they're going to put one little piece that ties the entire thing together, and now they've achieved what they want. That's what's happening. And I wish the Republicans in the Senate could either A, pretend like they don't know a little bit better, or B, figure it out. Because, good Lord, this is really easy to see. Anyway, let's continue. Got two more things for you. An analysis published this week from the ATF found sales by unlicensed dealers were the most frequently used gun trafficking channel from 2017 to 2021. 68,000 of those illegally trafficked firearms to unlicensed dealers. That's the same thing we covered. Do you think it's any coincidence? Last week, they're in Chicago, and they're talking about dropping $78 million in Chicago to double down on crime prevention efforts, even though Chicago has the lowest prosecutorial rate on a federal level around gun control charges. And then now, a week later, all of a sudden an executive order drops where it's going to change gun show loopholes based off of private dealers or those engaged in business. It's very clear to see what they're doing. And it's all in an election year. Good job, John. Today's final rule is about ensuring compliance with an important area of the existing law where we all know the data show and we can clearly see that a whole group of folks are openly flouting the law. That leads to not just unfair, but in this case, dangerous consequences, said Director Stephen Dettelbach. And now I'm going to bounce myself right back up because we have got to talk about this a little bit more. All right, let me throw myself up here. Woo! All right, here's the thing. This irritates me beyond measure. And the reason that it irritates me beyond measure is simply for this reason. They are slowly building a gun control monster, step by step by step by step, death of 1,000 cuts through the executive bureaucratic state. That's what they're doing. They are not doing this through Congress. They are doing this through the executive bureaucratic state. That is not right. That is not the way the system is supposed to be set up. They are manipulating the entire system to get what they want for their constituents to maintain power for 4 more years on the Democratic side of the aisle. The Biden White House is attempting to use their normal punching bags, like going after Easter, like debt relief of just forgiving debt, even though the Supreme Court said they can't. These reclassifying who's a dealer and not a dealer underneath the Bruin decision. All of these things are literally aimed at building their constituency and their vote and maintaining power at the behest of your rights. That's what's happening right now. And what they just announced today is just more of the same stuff. We're going to basically change who's in a dealer, who's not. We're going to close that evil gun show loophole, even though the gun show loophole doesn't exist. And then we're going to change the definition of who's in business of being a gun dealer to anybody who is selling one gun, or if it's a new gun, or if you made a single dollar profit, all of a sudden you're a gun dealer, which fits into the definition of exactly what they're talking about here, which this rule would cover. Look at that. Magic. And in wrapping this is the reason that we cover these things so tight every single day, in and out, is because when we go through all the pieces of what we do, it seems not that important. It seems incremental. But what they're doing is they're putting individual pieces in place every single day, all day, every day. And we're going to defeat it in time, but it's only a matter of time and a matter of observation until people figure out what's happening. And that is where we are left at. So that's what I've got for you guys. Please send this one out. I know the video is earlier than usual. I'm going to look at the comments real quick just to see what you guys think. Hopefully the audio came through, so let me know over on the right side if the audio did work that entire time. So my point of view appears. Okay. Both in my 3-wire, good stuff. Okay, cool. So it seems like we're pretty good. Air guns, 5x5. Okay, good. So I just want to make sure that came through because earlier we had some audio issues right in the very beginning. Yeah, hit the up button. That's right. I would love that. Yeah, so it sounds like I'm having some audio stuff, but I hope that guy came through, guys. Please send that out, and I will see you on the next one. I'm probably gonna have 3 videos today in total. There's so much going on, so make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. You've turned the notification bell on, and now. You guys have an amazing morning. I will see you on the next one, probably in the midday.